Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 6 of the Sheroes Project. I'm Anika Iyer, and I'm thrilled to introduce Sophia Viklund, our wonderful Shero. Sophia is the CEO of New Sun Technologies, and she's an entrepreneur, an advisor, a mentor to startups, an investor, and an advocate of girls and women in STEM education. Additionally, Sophia is also an investor, and she's a managing director at Golden Seeds, a network of angel investors that invests in women-led companies. Sophia is also co-founder of the Silicon Valley Deep Learning Group and PyLadies, a worldwide educational initiative for women who program in Python. Sophia is also, incredibly impressive, a speaker for the U.S. State Department's Issues on Women Entrepreneurs. Thank you so much for joining us today, Sophia.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Today's episode is especially exciting because we have high school girls from the Durham Johnston School in Durham, United Kingdom, here to join us as interactive participants. So thank you very much to you guys for being a part of this episode. And also thank you to Ben, their wonderful teacher, for making all this possible.
Thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and start with some questions for Sophia before we open it up to the interactive session. So Sophia, from everything I've learned about your interests and your career, I already have dozens of questions about your work, but I'm sure we'll all get to that shortly. First, I'd love to hear a little bit about your journey from one end of the globe in Russia all the way to the west coast of the United States. So what sparked your move and your interest in engineering, and what expectations did you have coming to California, and what opportunities did you find to be most exciting?
Of course. So I was born in Russia, and I went to, I started my first company in college. The reason for that was that then I was young, I saw a computer, and I fell in love with it. Computers were relatively new in Russia, and in the times of when I was a young teenager, very few people had them. So right now, there's lots more people that have computers and have access to various computer science programs. At the time, when I had my first computer, then I was 16 years old. I was a very unfortunate teenager because my parents actually bought it for me. So I was very fortunate to have it and to start learning how to program. My interest in computers stems from the fact that when I saw it, I kind of felt in my heart that it will change the world. At that time, then I was in college, and I entered the college quite young. I didn't know of any computer science programs. We just had electric engineering programs, other mechanical engineering, but not computer science as it exists right now. So I've been taking programming classes in C and C++, and that sparked my interest to also learn about HTML and web programming, and also Perl. So that all played into me wanting to do something with my newly learned skills. And because I also studied English professionally, I was my career were to be a teacher. I thought of a great idea to start a small business, and I did it. I was very fortunate to have a supportive family that helped me with my aspirations. That's why I strongly encourage families of teenagers and various students that I mentor to be supportive, because it's very important to do so for the families, for parents. But I feel that I was very fortunate that my mother, who's a doctor, she helped me a lot with kind of wanting to be somebody that I would never dream of being, and kind of inspired my dreams. So I credit my mother with that. And also, of course, existence of C++ books, and many of my guy friends at the time also were interested to, in programming, and not so many girls were, but I felt that it was important, and I felt that it can change my life in so many ways, and in fact, it did.
Okay, that sounds like an incredible journey. Thank you for sharing. My next question centers around the numerous different public initiatives that you've worked with. First, PyLadies, which is an organization that's dedicated to inspiring women to learn Python, and also the Silicon Valley Deep Learning Group, which you're a co-founder of as well. So I want to know what motivates you to be a part of these different nonprofit organizations and what you see in terms of the increase in participation of women in the areas of artificial intelligence and learning and Python as well.
Of course. Well, to continue my story, then I came to the US. I worked for various technology companies, and um, my aspiration was to start my own business. The women's participation in starting tech companies and in being in tech has been increasing in the past few decades. As I see it, lots more women became interested in the subjects of computer science and tech entrepreneurship. And I've seen a great increase in numbers since the times then I started. And I feel that joining or starting organizations that have important social impact on helping women learn a new skill has fantastic implications for those women, for their families, for the society, because people need to have more chances to find education and right education. And PyLadies was created because 7 women software developers, including myself, saw that then women came to take programming classes. They were a little shy, and they didn't feel that they had supportive environment to learn. And the design of PyLadies was to give women a comfortable place of study. And Python is a human readable language. It's really a wonderful first language to learn, for example, in comparison to Java. And we chose it because we felt that more people, including women, could learn that. And also, of course, some men are shy too, so we were open to everyone, but we wanted to encourage women to tell them that it's safe to come to PyLadies and study Python. So it was very, very important. I wish I had something like that, and then I was starting out as a young teenager with my computer, but I felt that I could contribute a lot to developing that dream of mine to help other women, and so we did it. So PyLadies, I felt, had a great impact on the world in terms of educating women and men and children about Python. Right now, we are in many countries, and we get fantastic feedback from all over the world, and people are very grateful. So as for Silicon Valley Deep Learning Group, that was an initiative that is focused in the area of artificial intelligence and deep learning, which is an emerging technology that's highly used here in Silicon Valley and around the world. I see a steady increase of women who are interested in the space of artificial intelligence, for the reasons that right now we have 3,000 plus members, and the growth and the interest in the group have been very, very strong from the community and also from the community around the world. We're centered in Palo Alto, California, which is Silicon Valley, but we get members from all over the world, and the mission of Silicon Valley Deep Learning Group is educational. We're trying to get scientists, entrepreneurs, students, investors, all kinds of people interested in how does one work in the industry of artificial intelligence, start their own company, or teach others how to improve. So I see much more women joining the group right now, because we don't just have young students who want to learn, and we have a lot of students coming from Berkeley and Stanford and San Jose State University, as well as I know that many students watch our educational videos online, and we have professional talks by luminaries in the space of artificial intelligence that come and talk about deep learning. And I see lots of professional women that are established engineers working for various companies in the Valley. We get basically all of the, most of the tech companies that have women, many women are interested to move into the space of deep learning. Say you've been an engineer for, say, 5, 10, 15 years, and for your next move in the career, you have to learn. And one of the very powerful aspects of being in the space of education and trying to help others is to know that someone has to always have to learn new stuff. So if you are an engineer, you have to learn new stuff all the time. We have lots of people that come and try to find out, how do I take the class? Which class do I take? Whom do I talk to? Which information do I get to become better at my job? And of course, students have fantastic advantages right now to be able to take classes. For example, Stanford has fantastic class on deep learning. Udacity just launched their nano degrees in the space. So we have a lot of resources here that are free, that people could learn. And I'm very happy to see much more women coming because, as a woman, co-founder of the group, I welcome women and I want them to come. And men are always very supportive of our women in the group. And so we have a very positive, very generous, very camaraderie spirit. So I'm very happy with the results.
Yeah, no, I love this idea of bringing people together despite, regardless of where they are in their careers, to sort of share information and learn from each other and create smaller communities within the larger community of people in technology.
Yeah. Yes, and especially here in the Silicon Valley, we have lots of immigrant engineers. I think that possible majority are from somewhere in the world, and we get a wonderful diversity of countries, and we have men and women, and of course people that grew up here. We are just all inclusive, and I think that makes us a very powerful group because we want to help everyone.
Yeah. Sophia, I'd also love to learn a little bit about your role as a woman startup founder, now the CEO of New Sun Technologies, which is a Silicon Valley-based tech group working on implementing innovative ideas and bringing them into the market. Can you tell us a little bit more about the mission behind the company and what a typical day looks like? What the sort of ideas that you guys think about and look at are?
Of course. So as a woman startup founder, as a woman tech founder, I live and breathe my company. I love it. I've been kind of possessed by the spirit of startups for many years, and I don't think one could be easily cured from that. It's a very powerful. It's a very powerful feeling that you wake up because you are happy to wake up and you know that you have work to go to and you're doing that stuff that's really, really important. I'm at the time of my career where I can choose my projects, and the development that New Sun Technologies is doing right now on their product, and we're coming out very soon, is about the most important. It's dedicated to the most important person in my life, which is my mother, who inspired me to get here where I am right now. So it's we're in the process of finalizing the product. So I will be able to talk about it publicly very soon. But I think that then you are inspired by love for your family and community. You could really create beautiful products. Also, I have a lot of experience with product design. I went to UCLA to study design. UCLA is University of Los Angeles. And to me, it was actually very difficult to take art classes. So for a person who develops software products and applications, I feel it's very important to learn about how users will interact with your product. What impact will you have? How would you design the flow of interaction with the person that you design the product for? Whichever demographics and users you have the products that you target to. And it helped me a lot in my own career, not just continuously learn about programming, but also to understand about design a great deal. To me, the design classes that I took were, I feel, one of the most important years that I've spent in school, because how users feel about the product is very, very important. So as Paul Graham of Y Combinator says in his lectures, he says that know the user and you will succeed. I'm paraphrasing, but that's the meaning. Also, I feel that right now for students in computer science, it's also very important to consider looking into, maybe learning about business, because traditionally computer science was, it is a pure science. It's very powerful, and it's kind of not necessarily openly integrated with business or design. I feel that learning all three skills, such as knowing how to maybe write a business plan or understand financial statements, or kind of know what's going on in sort of like MBA type of programs, is also very helpful, but also understanding about design. We have a wonderful program here at Stanford by Nir Yao, and he's a very famous Stanford professor. I follow him a lot for the user design experiences. He has a podcast, and he's one of my design inspirations for knowing how to create the right product. Right now, we have Tim Draper's initiative. Tim Draper is one of the well-known venture capitalists in the Valley. His foundation, his educational foundation, BizWorld, inspires kids that are as young as third grade to start companies. And basically, from everything that I've learned throughout my long career is that you have to have a project to learn. At times people come to me and ask, how do you start a company? How do you start a computer science project? How do you start a design project? Well, all you have to do is start and learn as much as you can and fail as much as you can. So the motto is to fail fast and try again, and don't be afraid to fail. The fear of failure, I feel, is one of the most important factors to understand, and to try to convince yourself that it's okay. And of course, having supportive environment of the community, of family, friends, partners is also tremendously important. So I think it's my perspective is complex because it involves understanding so many aspects that make a business, and its business design, of course, engineering, but also understanding your customers, and also having a happy, fulfilling life yourself. Because if a founder doesn't have enough support in their family, of course, it's also could be quite challenging for them. So it's very important that you have a supportive environment that will lift you up instead of bringing you down. So I'm really happy to be in the position of female founder in Silicon Valley, to have a community group, and I also feel that for founders it's very important to give back to the community, because community is one of the most precious resources that you have.
Thank you, Sophia.
My pleasure.
So I now like to open it up to the open Q&A session, where the students and Johnson can go ahead and ask any questions that they have for you.
Yes, and would it be okay if you could repeat certain questions, because of my equipment, I just want to make sure that I hear them and I can hear you best. Would it be okay for you to repeat the questions? Or if I won't hear the questions, I'll ask to repeat them, okay?
My name is Rachel, and my question is, what barriers do you face as a female?
I'm so sorry, I will just increase my sound just a little bit. Please excuse me for 1 second. Okay.
What barriers do you face as a female entering and how did you?
Sophia, maybe, sorry, if you would turn the volume down a little bit just for the echo, and then I could maybe repeat the question once Rachel asks it.
Sounds great, because for some reason I have a bit of a fluctuation in the sound, and so
no problem.
Okay.
Sorry, Rachel, would you repeat the question one more time?
What barriers did you face as a female entering into a male-dominated industry, and how did you overcome them?
So Rachel wanted to know what barriers you faced as a female coming into a male-dominated industry and how you overcame those barriers.
Yes, of course. It's a wonderful question. Thank you so much. I feel that the most important skill for a woman who enters the field of computer science or tech or business is to understand how people think. So it helped me a lot to learn about psychology and understanding men. Throughout my life, I took many classes on the side trying to learn about that. And if you can kind of understand how people think and why they do what they do, and of course, most times you wouldn't be able to understand everything, but at least somewhat, you could be more skillful with how you approach situations. So it's not about brute force, it's about more, I would say, collaboration and developing collaborative skills to work with teams, to work with different people, to work with women, to work with men, to be a team player, but also know how to stand up for yourself and establish boundaries if you have to. So having lots of self-respect, but also understanding for other people helps a great deal. I found that in my career, men were very helpful to me and to the women that I worked with. They are a really great resource for women, and most of the initiatives that I worked with, actually, I think all of them, had supportive men behind the women that worked on those initiatives. I believe that women are very powerful and we can do a lot, but together with men and collaborating with guys, we could do even more. So I see it as a friendly approach. You have to be, of course, be able to express how you feel and be firm if you have to, but also be feminine and because as women, we bring so much to the world of technology. We bring a very different approach to being a company founder or CEO. We bring different approach to being on corporate boards. For example, right now in the US, we have very few women on corporate boards. I would say it's a problem. The reason is that very few women start companies and very few women are able to grow their companies to significant, I would call it unicorn size. And this is very pressing for us to inspire more women to start tech companies and also have bigger pieces of pie in the industry. So I see it as collaboration. So if you could learn collaborate well, success is not guaranteed, but highly likely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. My question is, what do you think about the argument that girls simply aren't interested in technological subjects such as computer science?
Okay.
Do you want to repeat it one more time?
Please, could you repeat the question?
That's fine. What do you think about the argument that girls simply aren't interested in technological subjects such as computer science?
Yeah, she was asking what you think about the argument that girls simply aren't interested in technology or subjects like computer science.
Oh, well, one excellent question. Thank you so much for asking. I think it's very important to ask such question. I think that people have different interests, and not everybody, not all women would be interested in technology. So I feel that to increase interest for girls in technology area, family support and also school support is very important. I know from personal experience that there's lots of young girls all around the world that really don't have access to computers or classes or education, and then say you guys are fortunate ones because you're able to study computer science, you're able to have supportive environment, and you could aspire to be in tech careers. I feel that it's really a matter of environment influencing students to show them that there is a great possibility of wonderful careers in tech. I feel that personally I could contribute to that by being a role model to young women and tell them that, like myself, that they should go in the tech area and prosper. I think any industry could be challenging, and tech industry is, it has its own challenges, but also it has tremendous rewards. So if somebody likes math, if they like computational sciences, if they want to learn about, if they're curious, I think curiosity is very important, they could get interested. As for going into computer science program or be self-taught, I feel it's also a possibility. I feel that with MOOCs, massive online open courses, that is becoming easier. So if you girls know of young girls of your age that are not interested, you could talk to them and ask what's, how you could help. I think that reaching out to your girls in the community, if you are a STEM superstar, for example, like you guys, you could be very powerful role models for others to inspire them to get into the industry. And I find that engineering community, at least here in Silicon Valley, is one of the most supportive in the world. I feel so at home. I feel that people are generous with their time, their effort to help. I feel it's wonderful. So if if youths could build communities to inspire each other, that would be very important. So I believe lots of that comes from the environment, and people could be inspired if they're given the right people to model after. And I think this is now your turn to be the superstars, to be inspirators, to inspire others and to fulfill your own dreams of being in computer science, being in technology. So I feel that right now for you guys, the world is open. And I'm very proud to see you being as assertive and smart as you are. And this is really a pleasure. So I know that you will inspire lots and lots of young people to be in technology.
Thank you. Yeah, great.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Evelyn.
Yes.
My question is that in the UK we have lots of initiatives that are about getting girls into STEM, but they're all aimed at girls who are sort of 16 or 17. And personally, I think that we need to start younger than that and start getting girls into STEM subjects when they're younger. So what are your thoughts on that? And do you have anything in the US like that that we could learn from?
Okay. And again, I have just a tiny bit of connection problems.
Sure. So she was asking, well, it started out by saying that right now in the UK, people are exposed to STEM and computer science at an older age, like I think you mentioned 17 or 18. But her thought is that it would be great to expose girls when they're much younger. And she was asking what your thoughts on that were, as well as if there are initiatives that do that in the US and what they could learn from those.
Well, this is a wonderful, very powerful question. Thank you for asking. Right now, from what I see here in the Valley is parents that are engineers themselves, of course, they promote the engineering programs in their schools, after schools classes. Lots of kids take after school programs. Again, we're talking about the community of engineers that wants to inspire their own children to be in the technology area. As for the general community, I think that it depends upon which schools kids go to and again how they get inspired. I know of programs for girls here. There's multiple apps, there's classes you can take online. Of course, there's parents work really hard to try to get the kids to take courses, but again, I feel that this is more individual to the family of the child that that is studying to Because I think a lot of kids, when they're younger, and especially if you're third grade or fourth grade or fifth grader, if you don't have, say, Tim Draper of Draper Fisher Jefferson to inspire you to start a business, then you're then you're 10. It's kind of hard to find ways to, like, well, whom do I look up to? Who already had some interest in, maybe who wrote an app, who wrote a product, who a kid that tried to create something. I know of a wonderful foundation here in East Palo Alto, very close to Stanford, called Street Code Academy. And Street Code Academy was started by a Stanford alumni who wanted to bring this um, classes to teach youths in East Palo Alto High School, and that is underprivileged kids that don't, kids of color that don't have enough opportunities here, because just rough. East Palo Alto used to be kind of like a rough area, so they started that in one of the East Palo Alto high schools to inspire kids. And of course, those kids are older, right? They didn't have the classes when they were little kids, but even now I see wonderful products that they create. And Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook was one of the guests for one of the student competitions. And he started Facebook, and he came, and he was happy to see the projects that students built. So my point here is that even if you're in high school and you're just starting to take computer science courses, say app programming, or you're learning a language, or you have a project that you could use as a practical application of the skill that you're learning, just like Street Code Academy did with one of the at-risk high schools in a difficult area to go into for educators that want to inspire kids to start businesses. I feel that that was a great success, and I feel that the kids' brains are plastic enough to be able to learn even when they 16, 18. But of course, for the children that have opportunities to learn at a younger age, that would depend upon their families, because I know some children that are in orphanage and also in foster care, and it's very different environment for them. Not having parents, I would say it's much more difficult for them to have opportunities that kids with families have. So I think that even in your community, if you see kids that you can personally inspire, that would be of great help, because otherwise they just may not have this information about that they could do more. So I also believe that community inspiration helps a lot to bring that change into the younger school children.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sophia, and my question is, what did you aspire to be when you were a child?
So she asked, what did you aspire to be, Sophia, when you were a child?
What again? Sorry.
What you aspired to be when you were a child?
Then I was a child. Then I was growing up. The computers didn't exist. We had old time phones with dials like this, and we had two television channels for the whole country. So it was. So because computers didn't really exist in my childhood, I loved animals, and I wanted to become an animal trainer. That was my aspiration. But later when I saw computers, I knew that that is my path. So I think that, again, as I mentioned before, having the right inspirations in your environment will shape your future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
Do you have any advice for a secondary school such as ours to show off how great computer science is in a way that would appeal to younger women?
So she asked if you have any advice for ways that secondary schools like Durham Johnston can show other girls and women how great computer science is in a way that's appealing for students.
How they could teach that, or are they asking about extracurricular activities? or how they are taught right now? Are you asking about, if I may clarify the question, are you asking about your current program, your current materials that you study, or your extracurricular activities, or something that you aspire to do?
Well, any of those things, how we could make it more
Oh,
for young women in all areas of computer science.
I got it. Thank you. I got the question. So this is a wonderful question to ask. I feel that if you would want to take responsibility for showing leadership in your school, you could maybe take an open MOOC class, say from MIT or Stanford, or there are multiple other ones online, and maybe study that together, and then just have a discussion group. In Silicon Valley Deep Learning Group, in our community of engineers and students and entrepreneurs and investors, we plan to have a journal study where we could study a specific book or specific article or something that somebody wrote, some papers that are important in the area of deep learning. So if you girls would like to possibly get together and work on some project that could give you all additional skills for better employment and or for your future, say, PhD work, or for your future thesis, or even something that could shape your interest, it's definitely worth brainstorming and looking into what you would like to do. Because again, if you would follow Homebrew Computer Club, that was one of the Silicon Valley clubs that was started years ago by Apple co-founders. They were part of that Homebrew movement. I think that the grassroots movement has a great influence upon how people perceive subjects that are studied. And I think especially right now, students have an advantage to maybe do a practical project, maybe create an app, like the students in this one of the Palo Alto high schools write their own apps, and then they show it around, and they're very proud of the projects. And some of the kids I know were younger. I think they were maybe 14, maybe 13. So, and possibly even younger. I would have to find out for you. I just don't remember right now. But it's basically your own interests could energize and magnetize the community where you are, and you could be a leader of that if you choose to do so. So I think this is open for you, for you to influence, for you to lead, for you to take part, if you want to.
Thank you. That's really
Thank
interesting.
you.
Thank you so much to all of you for asking such thoughtful questions, and to Sophia for all of your incredible answers and for sharing your story. I know I did, I know everyone else on the Hangout did as well. So I know we could talk to Sophia for much longer, but she definitely has work to get back to, and we do as well. So we're going to wrap up the episode. A recording of the episode will be available shortly on the Sheroes Project website, as well as on the YouTube channel. Please forward it to anyone you know who might be interested and spread the word. And if you know a Shero who we should include, please nominate them through the website. Details about the next episode will be posted very soon, and we hope that you will tune in. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you.